I think that the biggest hypocrisy in Western media that's coming out right now is that every single TV show, with almost no exception, every single one of them that's inspired from a previous IP, whether it's a comic book, a video game, or a previous TV show, every single one is going to do a race swap. Even if it makes or doesn't make sense. Like, they could just introduce a new character that's a minority. They don't do that. They take a character that's already established and they race swap it. They used to gender swap them as well, but now not so much. And they do this without exception. And if you complain, if you say, well, why are they doing this? It doesn't make any sense. They're going to call you a racist. They're going to call you a bigot. Like, why do you care? Best actor for the job, another very common excuse. So you have this going on, right? Like, best actor for the job. That's fine. You know, fine. You know, like, sure. Cast a black Zeus. Why not? Cast a black Zeus. Cast a black Achilles. Because it makes sense, right? But at the same time, the same people, the moment you cast a voice actress for a character, if the voice actor, which is behind the scene, by the way, like, it doesn't even break immersion. I even stepped up and defended Christopher Judge for playing the voice of Kratos, because it was actually really great and didn't break immersion. Like, I don't care about the voice actor as long as it sounds good. But there are people who actually care. And it's the same people who justify the race and gender swapping for TV shows. So now you have a character which has a slightly different skin complexity, and it's being voiced by a white woman. And immediately you have an army of people on Twitter coming up and saying, it pays me to write this on a day. Like, lying from the first thing. Like, does it really pain you? Does it genuinely pain you? Like, is this your main concern? It pays me to write on this day that should be filled with nothing but celebration and admiration toward my peers. To feel as though there is a corporate flyer with a risk assessment evaluation stating how much one can get away before receiving an amount of backlash. We can sit here and argue the merits of right for the role versus autocast because of ethnicity. But let's also not pretend that the quality provided by minority actors is less than the quality of their peers. Inclusion gives us the ability to tell stories out of the backgrounds. Even if it is a cookie-cutter project where race ultimately could be neglected, character coding still exists, therefore bringing forth racial relatability to minority consumers. Unfortunately, the more obscure the... Dude, like, how can you say so many buzzwords without having bees coming out of your mouth? Like some plague of Egypt type of shit. like by this logic, okay? So, like, minorities will only watch minority voices. Doesn't that mean that if you take a white character and you put a minority in, then less white people will watch it? By your logic, not mine. Because, again, like, if it creates immersion, it's good. Like, most people don't even know how the voice actor looks like. I don't know how the voice actor of Bulma looks like. I don't even know who this guy is because he's a voice actor. But anyway, right, so the reason that these people are concerned and it pains them and whatnot, that they don't really give a shit. All they want is power over the company. They want the company to bend down and then hire one of this guy's friends, right, or someone that thinks like them, and put them in a position of power, preferably with a very high wage, so that then they can decide if the casting is appropriate. So that you can only cast like-minded individuals, right? So you can only cast people that thinks like this gentleman. It's very disappointing that despite all the resources available to find diverse talent, minority voice actors still cannot have the opportunity to represent themselves. And by the way, what's interesting is that in the original anime from Japan, do they cast a minority or do they cast a Japanese person? But apparently it's good for money, it's good for mullah, for cash, and the Japanese people, which is famous around the world, didn't take that into consideration. How is Japan doing it without inclusion? How is Japan creating works of art that spin around the world without caring about inclusion, and instead caring about the lore, caring about the plot, caring about the relatability of the character? Like, for some reason, and by the way, you know, I will tell you something that's even more funny, right? Like, let's assume that this is true, that the voice actor really matters, and that people watch an anime if only the same race and gender of the voice actor is similar to them, right? So I, as a straight white person, should only listen to voice actors that are straight white and male, because if you don't have that, I can't watch it, right? Let's assume that this bizarre way of thinking is correct. Why do so many people in the West, in fact, overwhelmingly, why do they not watch dubs and choose to watch subs instead? I mean, this, you know, like, did you notice that? Especially in the anime community, right? Black people included. Like, some of the biggest fans of anime are black people. I mean, go on YouTube videos and see who does anime reviews and stuff. And see which are the best channels for it. Overwhelmingly black people. So, black people, instead of listening to the dubs from the United States, they choose the subtitles. Why do they do that? I mean, it's inclusion that the science is in, and for some reason, they choose not to. Oh, maybe it doesn't fucking matter. Maybe it literally doesn't fucking matter, does it? The only thing that matters, especially when it comes to voice acting, is the voice actor good? Does it create immersion? Does it actually manage to express the emotions? That's what matters. But unfortunately, we're going to see if CrunchyRoll is going to back down. Personally, if I was CrunchyRoll, I would never hire these people ever again. They are walking PR disasters. The moment you give them a job, the moment you give them an inch, they are going to cause PR damage for you. Right? Like, why would you hire them? Well, we'll see. You know, maybe CrunchyRoll is actually going to stick to its guns, right? Like, these people, what they want is to get the woman fired. That's what they want right now, in order to push their ideology that they don't even benefit from. But right now, like, there is a woman who has a job, and they want her fired. And they call themselves progressives. I bet, you know, like, if you ask them, like, do you want more women to be represented? Oh, yes, of course. And it's so tiresome to see that anime is under attack constantly, both from the left and the right. Like, this is what really annoys me. But I'm not really concerned about the right because they do not have the institutional power to make changes. But this is why, like, do not think that this is an attack because they want to change a voice act. No. This is an attack to tell the company, as I mentioned previously, hey, better hire one of us as a consultant. Because if they were to hire one of them as a consultant and give them like $10,000 a month or however much they require, because like these jobs, like the more trivial is the job, the more useless the fucking job, the better paid it is. And if you hire one of them as a consultant, then they wouldn't care about this. Like, they're not screaming about it. Because it'd be like, well, you know, if we scream about it, then we can get our consultant fired. So just shut the fuck up and pretend it didn't happen. Oh, and I forgot to mention this, but it's absolutely hilarious when you see the mask off. Like, there are small indie projects, usually video games and stuff like that. And you have one of these consultants attacking them and being like, oh my god, you're racist. You can't do this. You're not the correct skin color. You're not the correct pigmentation. And then the developer is shocked, like, well, what do I need to do? It's like, hire me as a consultant. I will make sure that. And I'm thinking, like, okay, so like if you're worried about the damage and the harm done to minorities and you can help, why don't you help for free? Let me know what you guys think, and I will see you in the comment section. Take care.